Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it aqua tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold an obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How's everybody doing this wonderful Tuesday morning? Good morning. Good morning. We got a few things to speak about, some good news, some bad news, and more about the future of the Miami Dolphins, because that's what we gotta look at. We gotta look at the future. We gotta continue to hold out hope that someday things will get better for this Miami Dolphins football team, that all our support and all our love that we have put into this football team, all the time, all the passion that we have put into this football team doesn't go to waste. So you got to hope for the future. You got to pray for the future that things will get better. And if we follow a very simple path, I think things will get better. I think things have the possibility to get extremely good for the Miami Dolphins if Stephen Ross, if this organization does things the correct way. Now, I'm not all-knowing, and could my plan fail? Absolutely. Could it bite me right in the ass? Absolutely. I mean, nobody's all-knowing when it comes to football. A top prospect could be an absolute bust. Someone that you think is a good coaching prospect, or someone that you think would be a good GM, could absolutely fall flat on their face. And, that's a risk that you take when you hire anybody. But I truly believe if the Miami Dolphins follow a very simple script that they can make a contender that can be good for years and years and years into the future. A team that is built like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, those teams that are consistently at the top of the conference, constantly competing for Super Bowls. I think the Miami Dolphins can be that in a few short years, but it's going to take a collective effort from the upfront brass, the Stephen Rosses and the people that Stephen Ross trusts to put together a front office, to put together a coaching staff that has the capability to get together a roster that can compete year in and year out. But other Dolphins news, let's get started on that first. Good news, Austin Jackson should be returning this week for the Miami Dolphins, although Larry Borom has played pretty well at right tackle, which has been a surprise to me. He's been a surprise. Austin Jackson should be back this week. I'm torn because Austin Jackson hasn't been great when on the field. Like I said, Larry Borom has played pretty good football at right tackle. The real issue with this offensive line right now, I mean, Jonah's starting to play better, but the real issue on this football team with the offensive line is the guard spots. Now, you could try to move Larry Borom into guard, but why mess with something if it's going good right now? So I asked the question, why not give Austin Jackson a shot at that right guard? Why not have Austin Jackson come play right guard for the Miami Dolphins? He's coming back off the ankle injury, obviously. That'd be less movement for him. He has experience at guard. He played guard as a rookie. Yeah, it was the left guard, but he still played. He played some guard. Why not give Austin Jackson an opportunity at guard and just leave Larry Borom right where he's at? That's the question I ask. I don't, let me hear in the comments what you think about that. I think that should be the move right now. Lombardo says move on from Jackson. Yeah, Michael, I don't disagree with that. Obviously his contract's kind of big, so that's kind of an issue, but you're not going to move off him right this instant. I'm talking about what we should do right now. You know what I mean? Right now. What should we do right now? Good morning to all you beautiful people out there. I appreciate you coming through and stopping by. Marcos, man, your boys last night, man. Woo. Those Carolina Panthers, man. Cost me some more money. How do you not go get I lost out on my bet last night. I had gotten everything. I got Bryce to throw a touchdown. I got Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey over 60 yards rushing. Christian McCaffrey over 4 receptions. How you not go get your stud wide receiver involved in this game? What do you have? 1 or 2 catches the whole game? And I know they threw it to him 7 times, but you got to get him more involved. And how did you not run the ball with Rico more? What, Rico have 7 carries, something like that, something stupid. Absolute disaster for the Carolina Panthers last night. You got one of the best young running backs in football, and you don't run the football. How do you not run the football? Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there. I all hope that you have somewhere warm to have a meal. Listen, if you didn't have a warm place to have a meal and you were closer to me, I would invite you over. That's just the type of person I am. We always cook way too much food. I hope and pray that everybody has a good place to enjoy time with their family and friends on this Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for my family. And I hope and pray that everybody can have a happy holidays. And like I said, have somewhere where they can get a warm meal. And, just feel loved. And if you don't have that, just know that I got love for you 100%. I got love for you 100%. 100%. And if you guys were closer, I would open up my doors to each and every one of you and, give you a plate and tell you that you mean something to somebody. You know what I mean? And sometimes some people need to hear that. Joe says, Big C, what is your favorite side dish for the holidays? Man, I'm a mac and cheese guy, man. I like that mac and cheese. I'm a mac and cheese guy. Happy holidays to you, JD. Yeah, but Austin Jackson should be back. I always take mac and cheese with bacon over turkey. Me solo at home, no turkey, all beer. Man, I feel horrible for you, brother. No turkey, all beer. Like beer's great, beer's great, but you gotta get you know what I mean? I'm not a turkey fan myself. I deep fry turkey, which makes it taste 100% better. I always deep fry a turkey, but I be deep frying chicken too on Thanksgiving, and we be having a ham. Like I said, we way overdo it. I guess that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Well, I wish you were closer, brother, because you definitely have a place at my table. Maybe someday in the future, we'll plan for it. You know what I mean? Maybe someday in the future we'll plan for you, come out and visit and spend a holiday. You know what I mean? Austin Jackson should be back. That should be good news for this Miami Dolphins offensive line. Other good news is that Darren Waller, his 21-day window should be opening. Hopefully we have Darren Waller back sooner rather than later. Listen, Darren Waller only appeared in 3 games this year. But in those 3 games, he was phenomenal for us. I'm excited to get him back. I feel like this offense really lacks weapons outside of Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. So I'm excited to get that big, tall, red zone target back. I think that can do wonders for this Miami Dolphins offense. Super excited to see that. So Darren Waller, Austin Jackson should both be back. Very good. Very, very good. Bad news. Mike McDaniel said he does not know if James Daniels will return this season. What the hell? What the hell is up with this? James Daniels may not return at all this year. Listen, the guy played 4 snaps. 4 snaps. When he went on injured reserve, and I remember this distinctly, there was a discussion whether they should even put him on injured reserve because they didn't think that it was maybe necessary that he was going to have to miss 4 games. And now the guy's going to miss the entire season. Our top free agent signing is going to miss the entire season. How do you go from questioning if you should even put him on injured reserve to you being out 10 plus games? Is mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing. How the hell is that possible? How is that possible? How do you go from maybe 4 games to 10 plus games and you don't know if you're going to make it back? That is absolutely nuts to me. That is by far the biggest disappointment of the season for me. This was supposed to be our guy. This was supposed to be our number 1 free agent. Obviously Tyreek going down was a blow. That was a blow. That hit hard. I hate to see that Tyreek Hill's career with the Miami Dolphins end that way. Everybody that follows this channel knows that I'm a big Tyreek Hill guy. I just think he is phenomenal. He's so exciting to watch. And but James Daniels was supposed to be the savior for this offensive line. And the fact that 4 snaps is what we're going to see. How do you go into next year trusting this guy to be your right guard? How do you go into next year trusting that? It's just mind blowing to me. Another wacky injury situation with this Miami Dolphins team. It's not the first one we've seen here. It probably won't be the last. I mean, if you go back in time, you got the Will Fuller injury. That was a weird situation, right? You got the Byron Jones injury situation. Oh, he'll be back, he'll be back, he'll be back. And then he never ends up coming back. This situation with James Daniels, just so many weird injury situations for the Miami Dolphins. Oh, it is what it is. It is what it is, though, I guess. Um, Reek said he's a DJ now. Shake my head. Listen, Reek, that's what Reek does. Reek trolls. I believe Reek he's gonna try. He's gonna try. He's gonna come back. He's gonna put the effort in. He's too much of a competitor not to see if he's capable of getting himself back to being one of the best players in this league, getting to back to being one of the fastest players in this league. You know what I mean? So we'll see, but I think personally Tyreek Hill tries to make a return. And obviously it's not going to be with the Dolphins. I'm still having my fingers crossed that maybe somehow, some way he ends up back here next year, but I highly doubt it. But I do think that Tyreek Hill will be back with some team next year and be playing. He will be playing by midseason next year, I believe. What else was I gonna say? Very, 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 very. What was I gonna say? Tank Dell had same injury. Yeah, Tank Dell's a lot younger though. So, this is kind of off topic, but I just seen something the other day. You remember when Speed, that YouTuber, was trying to race Tyreek Hill and I'm faster, and Tyreek was kind of pushing it off, and they were trying to act like Speed was I guess he's a YouTuber, the young black kid. Like he was a real threat to Tyreek Hill, and that Tyreek Hill was scared. I watched him run the 40 with Tom Brady. They were doing something. Speed only ran a 4.49 or something. Like, this guy isn't near Tyreek Hill's level of speed. That's absolutely crazy. Not that 4.49 for a regular human being isn't fast. It absolutely is. But you're out there challenging Tyreek Hill, who, Tyreek Hill 2 years ago, he could have challenged the 4.29. You know what I mean? Not 4.49. So, we shall see. So anyway, the Miami Dolphins job, and why I feel like this can be one of the most attractive jobs in the NFL. That must be my boy Michael K over there. How's your Buffalo Bills 11-2 record doing you? Yeah, Chad Robinson has been a disappointment to me this year. I think there's a lot of factors to why he hasn't been that good. First and foremost, he just hasn't been good enough to be 11 to 15 sack guy. I was wrong about that. Absolutely 100%. But I do think that it was you trying to feed too many people at the counter. You know what I mean? You got too many guys you're trying to get playing time to, and you don't give him a real opportunity to, get a rhythm going. You said the Buffalo Bills were favored in every game, brother. Like, you said that. You acted like they weren't going to lose more than a couple of games. Like, stop it. Stop. But it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I was wrong about, you're right. I was wrong about Chop Robinson. I think Chop Robinson's going to be better than Charles Harris. Listen, give him some more time. He turned it on late last season for the Dolphins. I think he will show us some of that same promise here towards the end of the season. With the well, he's going to get more playing time down the stretch, and we'll see. You know what I mean? I mean, you didn't say they were going to lose more than 3 games, though, did you? Did you say they were going to be 7-4, Michael K? I think Buffalo will make the playoffs still. The Buffalo Bills are a flawed team, though. The Buffalo Bills need to get Josh Allen more help without question. You know, Josh Allen can't be perfect 100% of the time. You can't count on Josh Allen 17 games of the season to put on a cape. You know what I mean? You can't expect him to put on a cape. 17 games, and he needs help. He needs defensive help, and he needs some offensive help. And he turns the ball over. He's starting to turn the ball over at a higher percentage. He's getting back to that Josh Allen that turns the ball over, and that's, you know, they're not successful when they turn the ball over. Josh Allen is the reason they lost the games they did. I mean, you can say that, Michael K, but at the same time, Josh Allen's probably the reason they won most of the games they did. But anyway, why would the Miami Dolphins a job be the most attractive job? And I truly believe it starts with the young guys we currently have on the team. I think it really is a mixture of the young guys that we currently have, this last year's draft, add Chop Robinson into it, because I think Chop's still going to be good. He needs some more time, but I think he's still going to be a pretty good pass rusher. Is he going to be a star? I don't know about that at this point, but I think Chop Robinson's still a guy that's going to get you 8 to 10 sacks a season, which is serviceable. You add in Achane, who's still young, Jalen Waddle, who's still young. You're starting to get a nice foundation of players. You got Jonah, Patrick Paul. Brewer's not an old guy. He can be here for the rebuild. Jordan Brooks can be here for the rebuild. Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, Dante Trader has shown some promise this year. You got the young corner out of Florida who has shown some promise. He did get hurt. Let's see what he does the rest of the season. Hopefully he's a contributor. Fitzpatrick is someone that you can use towards the future. Safeties typically can play a little bit longer than other positions. I think Fitzpatrick still has probably 4 or 5 good years of football in him. But you take that nucleus that we have right now, and then you add on to it the draft that is going to be coming up. And let's see. These are the list of picks that we have in this upcoming draft. So let's count it out. You got Jonah, Patrick Paul, Brewer, Achane, Waddle. Offensively, let's throw in Malik Washington, because I think he's a player that you can continue to build with. That's 6 players on the offense. Defensively, Jordan Phillips, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Brooks, Dante Trader, the young corner out of Florida, and Fitzpatrick, let's say. That's 6 on the defensive side. That's 6 players right there. You add on can you see? Let me make it smaller. Okay. So we got a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick, 3 third-round picks, a 4th, a 5th, and a 7th. So the 12 players that I named, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just say you grab 6 of these players. That takes you up to 18. 18 hopefully quality young players on this football team. right? That's 18 or so quality young football players on this football team that should be here for the for foreseeable future, right? Let's remove this. You got those 18. And then, like I said, Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, because the contract of Tua Tagovailoa is so hard to move on from, the fact that this draft coming up is not a quarterback draft. It's not a quarterback draft. And the fact there's so many teams ahead of the Miami Dolphins right now looking for quarterbacks, that hurts the Dolphins even that much more. So I don't really think there's an opportunity for us to go out and replace Tua this year anyway. So I honestly think it's in our best interest to keep Mike McDaniel one more year, to keep Tua Tagovailoa one more year. You go into the draft, you build best player available at positions of need. And that's the way you go about business for 2026. If you got any serious thoughts that we're going to be a competitor in 2026, it's just probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. What up, Shake Money? What up? Right? So you got all those young players. You hire your GM. You hire your GM this offseason. He evaluates Mike McDaniel. He evaluates Tua Tagovailoa. He realizes that Tua is not the answer at quarterback. 2027 is when it's key. 2027 is when it's key. So let's get rid of this one. And I'm going to tell you what else 2026. So you got the 18 or so players from the 2025 draft, 2024 draft, and the 2026 draft. You go into 2027, you add another 5 or 6 players that are young, talented players from the draft onto this football team. That gets half your roster is filled with young prospects that were drafted by the Miami Dolphins. Young prospects drafted by the new GM and players that we've already had here that we feel can help us build towards the future. So half our roster should be nothing but young draft picks that were successful from Chris Greer's draft and the new GM's draft. So you go into 2027, right? 2027, you hit that draft. That's when you go get your quarterback. Let's share this screen. Present. Again, I feel like some of these quarterbacks are going to go back and play another year of college football. I think half the prospects this year aren't even going to come out. And you got to realize these kids aren't forced to come out like they have been in years past because they get that nil money. They're not pressed to hurry up and get to the NFL because guess what? I'm making money right here in college. I don't have to hurry up and get to the NFL and start making a paycheck. I don't have to hurry up and get to the NFL to get rich. I can sit right here in college and continue to be rich. So anyway, add to the stage. Let's go to 2027. Where is 2027? Well, they don't have it. So let's just look at this draft coming up. Oh. Enter draft. Ruben Bain Jr. is the top player in this draft class. Edge rusher out of Miami. I would love the Dolphins to go and grab him. I think he would be an absolute stud for the Miami Dolphins. Wow, he'd be amazing. If we could get him, he'd be amazing. I just don't feel like there are a lot of great quarterbacks in this draft class. Reuben Bain Jr., Caleb Downs is another player, safety out of Ohio State, I think would be a phenomenal player for the Miami Dolphins. Spencer Fano, the Utah offensive tackle. Ty Simpson, I think he ends up going back to college. And they're talking about Ty Simpson. They're comparing him to Mac Jones and to Bryce Purdy. Like, is that the quarterback is that the type of quarterback you want? That game managing quarterback? Dante Moore going back to college probably. Dante Moore is probably going back to college for another year. Let's see all the quarterbacks. Fernando Mendoza will be gone. Whether it's the Jets, the Browns, the Saints, Fernando Mendoza will be gone. And then you got Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. He's the 45th ranked player. Jaden from USC, 46th ranked. John Mateer, 58 ranked. I just don't think this is the year that you try to force a quarterback. I don't think this is the year that you try to force a quarterback. I think you continue to build through the trenches, fix the or the right tackle, get us another pass rusher. We're going to need another offensive weapon, another receiver. Mendoza gives me Tim Tebow vibes. Joe, what do you feel about that? What do you feel about that comment that he just made that we need Mendoza gives him Tim Tebow vibes? Quinn Ewers had an offer from Bill Belichick in North Carolina to go to North Carolina for a lot of nil money. And that's another, I think the nil is messing up the NFL. I think the nil is messing up these players. Why? You don't have to go and you can get rich right in college. So I really truly think it affects these players' work ethics. I don't think these players are putting in the work. You give a college kid all this money. You think they're going to be sitting at practice for 8 hours a day trying to hone in their craft? Or are they out spending money? You know what I mean? Are they out spending their money? Are they out living their life, having a good time? I think it's starting to show. I think it's starting to show, even with last year's draft class. So I'd rather see us go and address best players available, add right tackle, because I don't think Austin Jackson's long for this team. Add another pass rusher, add some corner help, add a wide receiver. I think all those needs are above a quarterback at this point. I think they're all above a quarterback at this point. So again, you go through, you add a bunch of talented players next year, best players available at positions of need. And then in 2027, what do you have? You already have your GM in there building a team the way he sees fit. 2027, the beginning of the season, you fire Mike McDaniel. You let Mike McDaniel go, and we release Tua Tagovailoa. Let's get rid of the draft thing. Let's bring this up. Share screen. And this is why 2027, I feel, is key. This is why I feel like 2027 is key. Let's take a look at 2027. So you got 2025's draft picks, 2026 draft picks, and plus like Patrick Paul, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Fitzpatrick, all those players that you sprinkle in besides the draft picks. You'll have 2027's draft picks. That's when you go up and you get your quarterback. That's when you go up and you force the quarterback, because the rest of your team should be fairly well built by this time. So when this quarterback gets here on his rookie deal, he has 5 years of a very talented roster. He gets to come in and play with very talented players that already know what the NFL is like. Right? So 2025, look at the salary cap. Next year, we're 11 million over the salary cap. At this moment right now, we're 11 million over the salary cap. So besides not having a complete roster, besides not having, if we let go of Tua, a rookie quarterback coming in with a pretty shitty roster overall, we're not going to win next year anyway. So you keep Mike McDaniel one more year. You keep Tua Tagovailoa one more year. Let's see. You cut next year. You would cut Tyreek Hill. You would cut Bradley Chubb. I would cut Jason Sanders. That would give us $48 million in cap space next year if you want to spend it. But I say you don't touch it. I say you don't touch it. And now 2027. This is the key year. 2027, we have probably 30 players that are young draft picks, are talented players we decided to build around. You cut Tua. You cut Zach Sealer at this point because he's 32 years old. Austin Jackson's gone. Alec Ingold is getting up there in age. Nick Westbrook. Oh, I'll go back up here. That leaves you with 168 million plus your new quarterback, plus all those draft picks that you can help build this team. You'd have $168 million free. And then 2028, 233 million. Now, of course, you're going to have to give Achane a new contract. You're going to have to give some people some money, Jordan Brooks some money. You're going to have to give some of these guys money. But the key is that you're going to have a lot of players out there that on this football team. You're going to have a very young football team. You're going to have a young quarterback. You're going to have a head coach that can come in and pick whatever quarterback he wants. Plus, with all the young talent that we should have, that's going to be a very enticing job to the top prospects in the NFL. Not to mention the no sales tax in Florida, all those things, the beautiful weather, the beautiful women, all those things add on. I really do think the Miami Dolphins, if they do things the right way, will be the most attractive job in the NFL. And we should have our pick of what coach we want to come in here and lead this team into the future. Now, people will agree to disagree what that coach should be, who that coach should be. I'm not sure the right answer for head coach of the Miami Dolphins moving forward. I just hope we get it right. I hope we get it right. Media hype Pickett to be a top 10, Mendoza getting same treatment. Listen, Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, was never a top 10 pick. He was forced into that top 10 because of need. There's a greater need, supply and demand. There's a lot more demand for starting quarterbacks than there are supply of them. The reason Florida has that shit where they don't tax their state income tax, not sales tax. I misspoke. Thanks, Michael K, for always correcting me. Just make sure you correct it when the Bills lose more than 4 games this year. I would hope that it all depends if Darren Waller wants to play more football, right? Zach Sealer, is he going to be tradable, Glenn? Is he going to be tradable by 2027? His plays already dropped off considerably. Well, make sure you set that record straight about your Buffalo Bills, too. That's all. That's all. Again, I'm not a dictionary. I make mistakes. I do. I'm not always right. I'm not. I wish I was. Because my pockets would be bigger as far as DraftKings, FanDuel, all that's concerned. The fact is, most people are wrong more about football than they're right, and this has been a wacky season. And if you can't admit that this season has been kind of crazy, I mean, at least in my opinion, I think this season's been absolutely nuts. I think this season's been absolutely nuts. I think there's a lot of teams playing. Look at the Giants. I never thought the Giants would be as competitive as they have been. Yeah, they only got 2 wins right now, but I never thought the Giants would be damn near. They've almost beat the Broncos. They beat the Eagles. They almost beat the Eagles again. Like the Giants have been really good this year, which has surprised me. I think the Bills do make the playoffs. I do think the Bills make the playoffs. They do still got some tough games. They still got Philadelphia ahead. They got another game at New England ahead. Although I don't think New England is good as people want to make them out to be. New England's got the softest schedule in all of football. No, I don't think Tennessee drafts another quarterback. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns did. If you take a good look at the offseason moves, you'll notice that this year was going to be like this. Listen, only the real survive. I agree to a point. But this season could be completely different. Listen, we were up 17-0 on Carolina. That should have been a dub. We should have beat the Patriots. That should have been another dub. We should have beat the Chargers. That should have been another dub. So the Miami Dolphins should have a better record than what they currently do. You add in the injury to Tyreek Hill, which was devastating for our offense. You know, the injuries, the James Daniels and Austin Jackson. So yeah, we do. And I said yesterday right on this program that the Miami Dolphins will not make the playoffs. I would have to take a look, Glenn, but the Bills, it's so bunched together in the AFC right now and that's why the Miami Dolphins can't make the playoffs. I mean, the Miami Dolphins could get to 10-7. They could. But even if they make it to 10-7, they're not making the playoffs strictly because of tiebreakers, and there's so many teams right there. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars, you got the Houston Texans, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got San Diego and Kansas City and Buffalo, and there's just so many teams vying for those spots. Only the real survive. And the way you explained it, that's how the offseason went, almost, but not hitting. Yeah, I said the Ravens Steelers. I thought maybe I missed them out. It'd be funny if we got the 10-7 tie for the Bills because we would win the tiebreaker. Yeah, Glenn. And again, this season has been so crazy that you can't count wins that you think that you can count. You can't count any win as a win this year. If any year has been like that, it's this year. Nothing is guaranteed this year. Nothing. Nothing. But I had to St. Augustine for the first time today. Well, I hope you have fun, Joe. I hope you have fun, brother. You going down there for the holiday? Steelers will beat the Bills. I just think this job's going to be so attractive because you're going to be able to hire a coach who gets to pick his own quarterback first and foremost. The amount of young talent that we should be able to surround our new quarterback and our new coach with should be incredible. We should have multiple years of young talent players from the draft that we can surround our new quarterback, our new head coach with. And then you put together the $170 million in cap space that we have to fill other holes on this team. I think that makes this team a very attractive option to potential head coaches. I think the weather helps. I think the no state tax helps. I think all those things help make this a very attractive. And you got to look at Stephen Ross too. The fact that Stephen Ross is willing to go out and spend the money and do what it takes to win. Trade for Sanders. I don't know if I would do that, brother. I don't know if I would trade for Shador. And Glenn, that's the first and foremost. Hiring the GM is the first domino to fall. If we mess that up, everything else is pointless. If we mess up the GM job, everything else goes to shambles. Because if we don't get the right GM, that GM's probably not going to select the right players. He's probably not going to select the right coach. You know, GM is the most important part of that scenario. Yeah, it does suck, Shake. It does suck that the New England Patriots are back up there, but how long does that last? I know there's a lot of big Mike Vrabel fans. Drake May has been very good this year, but I think how much is it a product of their schedule and how much of it is that they're really that good? GM has been a problem for years. Yeah, lots of years. Lots of years, Glenn. I agree. Lots of years. Answer this question in the chat. Are the Patriots as good as their record says they are? Or is this a product of just having the easiest schedule in the NFL? Or is it a mixture? Or does a mixture? Like, look at the Patriots schedule. It's a cakewalk, folks. It's truly a cakewalk. Shake says GM won't make a difference if the owner ties his hands with the collective. Yeah, but I think he's gotten rid of most of those, right? Champ Kelly isn't leaving anytime soon, Big C. He was brought in to be Mike's GM. I just don't think their schedule is good enough to say that they're a great football team. I mean, to be honest, Miller, I didn't realize how easy their schedule was, I guess. Brandon Shore and Garfinkel still there. I guess that's true. But how much say do they have in the day-to-day operations of the football team? I mean, I don't know. I'm seriously asking. Because I never felt like Brandon Shore or Garfinkel were really interfering when it came to Chris Greer, except maybe this year. Well, Glenn, we're not a good football team, brother. We're not a good football team. We're not remotely a good football team. I mean, we'll see. If that's the case, then we're in trouble, right? If that's the case, then we're in trouble. Miami is not the place for football. It's more soccer. Well, I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true because that's sickening to think about. The rich history of this franchise, the only undefeated team in the NFL history, the great years of Marino and Shula and the 70s with the Super Bowl titles. It'd be a shame. It'd be a shame to put the Dolphins on the back burner. I mean, I'm not from Miami, but I always thought the Dolphins were the cream of the crop when it came to sports franchises in the city of Miami. I always thought it was the Dolphins, and then behind them, the Heat, and then behind them, the Marlins. Soccer was a distant, you know what I mean? And now to think that soccer has overtaken all three of them, that's crazy. The Jerusalem Dolphins, stop it. They had a great position, new head coach, new spent money on new players, and even more cash to spend come playoff times when Vet gets caught. Listen, don't count this team out yet. Let's see who we hire at GM. That's the first step. That's the first domino. Is Champ Kelly going to be the the full-time general manager? We'll see. I think if he is, I think that's a mistake. And we'll be able to see if that, we'll be able to know. We'll know right away. If they just straight up make Champ Kelly the long-term GM, we know this team is not going to be growing. You can expect the same old if that's the case. Even though Champ Kelly, I guess, him and Chris Greer weren't buddy-buddy. They didn't interact with each other like that. So, I mean, I guess it's a different set of eyes. It's a different opinion about players. I just would like to see us go get a guy from an organization that has a history of success. I want somebody that's worked for the Patriots, or not the Patriots, but the Eagles, for the Chiefs, for the Ravens. I want someone from their front office to come in and run the Miami Dolphins. That's the dream for me. That's the optimal situation, in my opinion. To be fair, Messi is the best player in the world and the most popular sport in the world. Listen, soccer might be the most popular sport in the world. That's just because it's so popular in other areas. It is by far not the most popular sport in America. Well, the United States, anyway. Soccer is not the most popular sport in the United States. Get rid of the whale logo as well. That's another story. That's another story for another day. What is the earliest? I want to ask you guys though. What's the earliest that you can see the Miami Dolphins competing? I think the 2027 season, you could see the Miami Dolphins competing for the playoffs. If everything goes correctly, I think 2027, you could see the Dolphins competing for a playoff spot with a rookie quarterback. Soccer is worldwide. Soccer, obviously, soccer is more popular worldwide, 100%. But as far as in the United States, soccer is not more popular than football. Shake Money says 2065. God, don't say that, brother. Don't say that. Please don't say that. I think 27 we can complete for the playoffs. I think 28 that is the year that shows whether this rebuild was successful. I think 2028 lets us know if this team made the right choices. I think we know by then. I think 2028 is the key year. That's the key year to let us know if this was another blunder situation or if we got it right. 27, I think we can compete for a playoff spot. I do. 28, that lets us know if we made the correct choices. If this franchise is the franchise we hope it can be. Shape Money was watching Tomorrow War movie. They did say we suck in the future. If you want my best shakedown, I could see them competing next year if we keep HN and add depth to the line and shift permanently to a run first scheme. I believe we have lightning in a bottle. Miller, I don't disagree. I think this team 100% is that with keeping Mike McDaniel and keeping Tua Tagovailoa, Miller? Or is that moving on from them too? Although I feel like Tua has regressed this year, I mean, I think this team, if you give him the offensive line and the defense, I think they can compete for playoff spots with them. I do think that, next year is not a wash necessarily. I mean, you move on from Tyreek, obviously. That frees up a bunch of money. Obviously, you hope that James Daniels comes back next year. You need some more wide receiver help. You need some corner help. But hopefully, Kenneth Grant is playing at a higher level. Jordan Phillips is playing at a higher level. If the rookies make that second year jump, like we hope they can, next year could be a successful year for the Dolphins. I don't think we'd be a Super Bowl contender, but I think we could be right up there competing for a playoff spot again. If you bring Mike McDaniel and Tua back next year, do you make an effort to bring Tyreek Hill back? Obviously at a much reduced contract. A prove it deal. Anybody that signs Tyreek Hill is going to be to a prove it deal regardless. Do you bring Tyreek Hill back? I say you do. I say you do. I say you see what he got, depending on the price. but you need another offensive weapon. James Daniels is a one and done deal. The issue is going to be McDaniel and loving his guys because they're his guys. So the Dolphins can get out of Daniels' deal this year. I know it was a total 3-year deal. They can get out of it this year. And do they? Do they just move on? There's so many different scenarios with this team. Again, if you want a real Super Bowl contender, you know, you hold on to your money next year. You go through the motions. You get to that 2027 draft. You get your quarterback of the future. That's when you hire your head coach. You hire your head coach first so he can pick the quarterback he wants. And then you try to build around the last 3 years of draft picks that you have. And then you got $170 million to spend on whatever you need to spend on. But I think that's the way you get, teams, the successful teams in the NFL, they build through the draft. The Philadelphia Eagles build through the draft. Yeah, did they trade for A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley? Yeah, they went out and got those players. But for the most part, they built through the draft. You continue to build through the draft. And then at the end, when it's all said and done, you got all that cap room. You're able to keep your own players, which Miami Dolphins have struggled to do. They continue to let their own players walk out the door and they sign everybody else's players. Let's start using our money to keep the talent that we have in-house. And hopefully a new general manager sees that. What's the sense of hitting on the draft picks if we're letting them walk out after 4 years anyway? What's the sense? I was so mad when we shipped Jarvis Landry out. I was so mad because we hit on a second round pick and he has a fantastic first couple of years with us and we're going to go trade him away for nothing. Now you can argue whether it was the right choice in hindsight, but I wasn't a fan of it when it happened. I definitely wasn't a fan of it when it happened. But Big Toes, listen, this is an opportunity to change all of that, right? I don't want to hear we have money to spend, build through draft, sign Sullivan from Green Bay as new GM. They're going to get rid of Tua. Lombardo, you think they're going to get rid of him this year? You think these are the last 5 or 6 games of Tua's career as a Dolphin? You think they're just going to rip the Band-Aid off? Listen, I'm not against that. I'm not against ripping the Band-Aid off this year because I think that makes 2026 season, that makes us a bad football team for 2026. I think right now Tua gives us the best chance to win. So if you rip the Tua Band-Aid off this year, I think that makes us a worse team for 2026, which gives us better draft picks. And I think that helps us get a core 2027. I'd love to see the Dolphins either Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. I don't want that at all. Sorry, brother. I don't agree. If you think Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson's better than Tua at this point, I think you're mistaken. But that's your opinion. regardless, I think the Miami Dolphins job is going to be the one of the more sought after jobs for potential head coaches in the future. Again, it all depends on us making the correct move at general manager. I'm hoping it's not Champ Kelly. I really hope it's not. But we shall see. That is the first domino of the fall. That's obviously the most important one because they're the one that is in charge of everybody else. They're the one that's going to hire the new head coach. They're the one that's going to be responsible for draft picks and building this football team from the floor up. So we shall see. Hopefully we get that right. And I think if we get the general manager job right, everything else will fall into place. It's about having the skill to build a successful NFL franchise. And we just got to find the man for the job. We got to find the general manager that can do it. They have a 2026 potential out for Daniels per Spotrick. He hasn't played all year. Makes no sense to keep him. But if McDaniel stays, he will lobby for his guys. Should be gone. Austin Jackson also. I'm talking about benching Tua or cutting Tua. Listen, Miller, I don't necessarily don't want Champ Kelly. I just don't want it to be a foregone conclusion. I want them to do a serious. If Champ Kelly is the right guy for the job, cool. But don't just hand it to him. Do your due diligence. Go out there, interview. And if Champ Kelly he impresses you the most, by all means. But don't just hand it to him. There's been too much of that over the course of this team's history. Handing the team over the players, or coaches, general managers. Bill Parcells left. It was handed to Jeff Ireland. Jimmy Johnson left. We gave it to Dave Wannstedt. Listen, too much of that. Too much of it. I don't like it. If he made the job, cool. If not, move on. I don't want him hired because it's the easy thing to do. Because he has a history with Stephen Ross. No. No. Don't do that. If he's the best guy for the job, by all means. But do not give it to him because his prior relationship with Stephen Ross, and it's the easy, most comfortable thing to do. That will set us back drastically. Again, I'm not against it, but it's got to be. There's got to be a real reason behind it. There's got to be a real. You got to have support for your hiring decision, and that's how I feel. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, he had a little time with the Raiders, but I don't think he did anything of any importance there. Again, if he might be brilliant, he might be the guy that we want in that position, but we can't just assume. And if they don't sit there and bring in quality candidates or quality options, we're making a mistake. And that will set this franchise back. You want to bring in the top candidates from all over the NFL. I don't want an unknown commodity. I want someone that has a proven track record. I'm not talking about a big name. I don't want to hire a big name just to hire a big name. I want someone that's got a history of helping a franchise build itself up. That's what I want. I could care less what your name is. I want someone that is proven, not just on the staff. I want someone that had a hand in building an NFL roster into a Super Bowl contender. If they're coming from the Eagles, it's got to be someone that helped Howie Roseman build the Philadelphia Eagles, not someone that was just under Howie Rossman getting him coffee. You know what I mean? I think Mike Tomlin could be fired this year. I do. I think Mike Tomlin could be let go of this year. It's kind of crazy because Mike Tomlin's been successful in Pittsburgh. Very successful. But franchises like that, you know, the playoffs aren't good enough. Absolutely. Ray Agnew is one of the names that are at the very top of my list. At the very top of my list. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, I throw the bank at Ozzie Newsome. I know he's retired. I throw the bank at Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome has a terrific record of drafting players, hiring coaches, building franchises. He's built multiple Super Bowl winners in Baltimore. Baltimore is a franchise that I would love to mimic the things that they do. But that's what I got. Tomorrow we'll be breaking down the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. Again, there's a real chance the Miami Dolphins run the table. Do I think it happens? No. This team's been too inconsistent. But we do have players coming back. Austin Jackson, hopefully Darren Waller. So we have a support system coming back that's going to make this team that much better. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's all we can do is sit back and watch and hope that, you know, we don't make the same mistakes that we have in the past. But I love you all. I appreciate you all. Like, comment, subscribe. Again, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. I appreciate you. If you don't have a special somebody or family in your life that tells you they care about you or they can show you the appreciation, I care about you. You mean something to me. Every day that you pull up and show your support or comment in the comments and talk Dolphins football with me means the world to me. You guys mean something to me. And I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful holiday. I'll talk to you again before then. But if I don't see all of you, you know, I do hope that for you. Again, if you were closer, I would absolutely 100% offer you a plate of food at my table because you guys do mean something and I appreciate you. So, gonna have to say more to sleep with me. You haven't had my deep fried turkey yet, boy. But I do love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you. And you know what it is. Fins up forever and ever and ever. And
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad the champ. Tuned in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.